Hi, this is the first of what I hope is many video book reviews I'll be doing. I often do book reviews on my blog, Mary Potter Kenyon, or the Mary and Me book blog that I share with my co-author, Mary Jedlicka Hunston. But every once in a while, there's a book that I read, and it touches me so that I have to just set it aside for a little while and then get to it and process it a little bit. And this was one of those books that I completed it on August 5th. So you can see it's been quite a while. And I thought, well, maybe I'm not going to get to sit down and write the book review. Maybe I can do a video book review. So Love and Salt, A Spiritual Friendship Shared in Letters, Amy Andrews and Jessica Mesman Griffith. Now I did immediately run to Facebook, or I'm sorry, Goodreads, and do a review on there, which I also shared on Facebook, and even emailed the author because her book touched me so much. This is the book review I did on Goodreads. Beautiful prose in the form of letters between these two friends. I was drawn to it by the similarities between their book and Mary and Me, a lasting link through ink, that I co-wrote with Mary Jedlicka Hunston. Despite the fact that our book doesn't include any of the 8,000 letters we wrote between us, and our letters were nothing like the beautiful prose between these two. And although we have tackled the topic of faith in our book, and and since our book we do talk about faith a lot, but we really didn't much in those 25 plus years of letter writing. I'm impressed with the author's choice in reading material and how they shared what they learned in their letters. So these two women were reading books by G.K. Chesterton, Dorothy Day, Flannery O'Connor, St. Augustine, and I mean, really deep stuff. And they were really delving into faith and their spiritual journey. They also mentioned authors that I have read, like Madeleine L'Engle and C.S. Lewis. But Mary and our reading choices were not so deep and spiritual, at least the ones we shared with each other through our letters, as these two women. And I really enjoyed that part of the book, and also the fact that these are actual letters in their book, that they had 1,000 letters between them to look at and to choose letters to show this journey. So the two met in a creative writing workshop. On the first day, all of us were enduring one of those awkward introductions, going around the table describing our projects. We both confessed to writing about God, Jess about her Catholic and evangelical upbringing, Amy about growing up naturally religious in an agnostic household. We were both careful to conceal any current convictions, sensing we wouldn't be taken seriously if we admitted to belief. But for a second, our eyes met across the table. What? You too? And so that was the beginning of a friendship. And then when Amy decided to convert to Catholicism, she asked Jess to be her sponsor and to go down this path together when they lived a distance from each other, one in Jess in South Bend, Indiana, and Amy in Chicago. The way they decided to keep in touch was through letters, and they were going to do it through Lent. And Amy would enter the church on Easter. So their letter writing began with this faith journey, and but of course they continued writing after that. They didn't necessarily expect to, but they continued writing, and after 5 years, they had 1,000 pages of handwritten letters. And what they did was compiled them and bound them, photocopying each page as a Christmas gift for each other. So they had this back and forth letter writing. And reading this book, I wished Mary and I had done that, because that would be such a fascinating journey through our own mothering. And when we met, Mary had 3 young children, and I was pregnant with my third. And when we moved away from each other, um, I had 5 more after that. So a lot of our letters were some mundane stuff, probably working through things and just connecting with each other. Now, what happened with this relationship is that Amy lost a baby, and so they had that to work through. And her letter in June of 2006 it just touched my heart, because she was looking at, is this going to affect our relationship? Dear Jess, and she goes on to say, I've been so afraid that our friendship will not survive Claire's death. I can sense this fear in your voice too when we talk. This really touched me because Mary and I had been writing for so many years when I lost my husband in March 2012. And not only that, but I was writing Mary a letter when I realized that within a few feet of me, my husband was gone, but his heart had stopped. And so, like Jess and Amy, Mary and I worried, was this going to change our relationship? Was this going to change our friendship? That I had lost a spouse and she still had her spouse, and I had this huge gaping wound to deal with. But not only that, I was writing Mary a letter when I discovered it. Well, it didn't. It didn't change our friendship, and his death ended up strengthening our friendship because of the way Mary responded. So this letter goes on. The highest friendships, Aristotle wrote, require time and familiarity. For as the proverb says, it is impossible for men to know each other well until they have consumed together much salt. Title of the book, Love and Salt. Nor can they accept each other and be friends till each has shown himself dear and trustworthy to the other. I guess we are now in the phase of eating much salt. But you have already shown yourself to be dear and trustworthy to me. And later in that same letter, I am not sure what it means to eat much salt, but it doesn't sound pleasant. It makes me think of tears rolling down our faces into our mouths, and Lord knows there lately have been many tears. The loss of Claire is our salt. I taste her loss every minute, in my mouth, in my arms, in my belly. I know that you too have cried long and hard for her, and for me, and for us. I know this, and I know that you have kindly hidden your tears from me. It makes me cry right now to think of you weeping in secret. So let it be as it is, a time of eating much salt, alone and together. Yet this time is not merely that. When I see you or read your letters, I am suddenly made happy. I see that I still love you, take pleasure in your ways, and yearn for your good and for mine. If this load of salt can't kill our pleasure or desire for the good, then I doubt anything can. And maybe this very salt will make us all the more dear and trustworthy to each other. With much love and salt, Amy. And that's what my friendship with Mary was like and is like, is I can't see any salt ever coming between us. So Love and Salt, it's a Loyola Press book. It's not real new. I think it's a 2013 copyright, but if you haven't read it and you love books about friendship or letter writing or faith or spiritual journeys, this is a much recommended book. Thank you.